Hey guys, it is Melissa and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Melissa Ellen. I do true crime videos. Our intention on this channel is to focus on missing persons, unsolved cases, and things along those lines. We do also cover other videos, so if you're interested mostly in helping raise awareness, then make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. For those of you that aren't new, I missed you guys so much last week. You guys always tell me not to say I'm sorry when I take a week off, but I am because I miss you guys and I love what we're doing with this channel. So I just had to take a week off. It wasn't coming out correctly. I don't know how to explain it. Brain fog, just everything I was doing was not working out. But I'm back for you guys this week. But before we jump into the video for this week, I do like to talk about the last video that we did. The week before last, we did do a video on Breck Bednar. Now, Breck Bednar is a very important case that people need to hear his story. And his mother has been very active in sharing what happened to him in order to prevent this from happening to other children. Now, Breck was actually groomed online over a 1-year period before he was lured away from his home. The man that did it, boy, man, whatever you want to call him, was only 18 years old when he did this to Breck, who was only 14. So it's a very important story. They have a charity that is active in helping prevent other children from being lured and groomed, online activity, and they're very much about how to safely have your children online. So make sure you do check that video out. Check out their charity and what they're doing, and just the message that they're trying to get out is to prevent this from happening. She doesn't want anyone else to feel the pain that they felt. And today I want to talk to you about Lauren Dumolo. Now, Lauren went missing in June of 2020 out of Cape Coral, Florida. She is a mother. She has been missing. She has a very loving family. It makes absolutely no sense that she would leave. So something happened to her. And today I want to tell you about Lauren's story. Lauren Brittany Dumolo was 29 years old, and she's since turned 30 when she disappeared from Cape Coral, Florida, June of 2020. Lauren is also a mother. She has a little girl, 5 or 6 years old, by the name of Michaela. Again, just right there, a total reason why this mom did not walk off and leave her daughter. Aside from that, as I get through the story, there's not a lot of reasons why she would have. I know we have to consider that as an option, and I just want to cut it off right now. It doesn't seem in Lauren's case at all something she would do. Now, it appears from what I gather, this is a new case, so we are piecing stuff together and we are kind of speculating on some. Just know that as we're going into it. Mother is Laura. Mother did live in the Cape Coral area. She actually lived not too far from Lauren when she disappeared. We'll talk a little bit about Laura in a while. Now, her father, Paul, was living in California, and as soon as she disappeared, he did fly straight out to Florida. And I believe he's been going back and forth, or mostly staying in Florida, trying to help bring her home.
I love her very much, more than anything in the world, you know.
We just want her to come home.
Now, she has several siblings. It looks like their names are Jennifer, Lindsay, Jeffrey, Ryan, and Cassie. Her sister, Cassie, seems to be the most vocal of them, that they were very close, and she has been actively involved in trying to find her sister.
It's been 6 months, and there are still no clues to the whereabouts of Cape Coral woman Lauren Dumolo. And her disappearance on June 19th has left a hole in the hearts of her entire family.
Lauren's been by my side my whole life. She's 13 months older than I am. I've never had a holiday without her. And now I've gone through some major holidays without her, and they don't get any easier. You would think going, into time, like, oh, it's going to get easier. It doesn't. If you know Lauren, you know that she is like the epitome of a girly girl. Her favorite color is pink. We're just going to tie pink ribbons everywhere and just let everyone know, we're doing this for Lauren.
Several people described Lauren as being outgoing, bubbly, kind-hearted. That also, I read a post from one of her friends, and I wasn't sure if I could share it, so I'll just tell you what it said. It was inside of the Facebook group. I will link that down below if you guys want to join, but I'm just not sure if I can share it outside of the group. But it was a post from one of our friends, and it was just talking about what a kind person she was and what a girly girl she was. But one of the things that it was talking about is how Lauren actually had a New York accent. And when she would get going, or she'd get feisty, or she'd get excited, that accent would come out. Now, it does appear, I'm not sure if she was born in New York or she's just from New York, but she definitely has ties to New York, and she had moved to the Florida area. I'm not exactly sure when. It does appear she was in a relationship with her boyfriend for about 4 years, so maybe around that time. Now, she was very close to New York. She obviously has ties because she also had a tattoo of New York on her pelvis bone, so the little NY. She had a couple of other tattoos that were of significance. She has this tattoo, which is a namaste down her side, and then she also did have rosary beads on her ankle. Now, she was a hard worker. It was described that prior to COVID, she was working 2 jobs, and she had actually been laid off from those jobs as a result of the pandemic. Now, she had been working at Taco Bell in the Norfolk area, and I'm not sure how far that was from her home, but that's where she had been working, and she was actively looking for another job. In fact, she was seen on surveillance video the day before or days leading up to her disappearing on surveillance, going into different businesses, applying for jobs. Now, as I mentioned, she did have a boyfriend, and it appears from what I saw that they had been together about 4 years, and his name is Gabriel Pena. And they were living in apartments off Coronado Parkway in the Cape Coral, Florida area.
Lauren Dumolo's boyfriend was the last person to see her.
Still to this day, trying to put the pieces together while we're down.
As I mentioned, she was a free spirit. She's got the namaste tattoo. She was very into meditating. And so there was actually this park down the way from her house called the Four Freedoms Park. It was located on Tarpon Court, I believe it's called, and it's very scenic. This is not just a small little park. This is one of those big, huge parks with a lake, lots of things to do. And one of her favorite things to do was to walk there and meditate. Now, it is important to know that she did not drive. But I looked on the map and I'm kind of gathering she's from New York, where she's at in Florida. Maybe this wasn't important to her to drive because everything was in walking distance. But I didn't get that question of why she didn't drive. I just know that she wasn't driving. And so she would walk down to this park and go and hang out. Now, her mother, Laura, also lived across the street from the park. And I'm going to go ahead and add this in now. This family has been through way too much since Lauren has disappeared. It's hard enough. Your daughter's missing. Her mother, Laura, actually passed away on October 15th. She passed away from COVID. Now, she did have a lot of medical issues. I believe she was even in a wheelchair. I don't believe she was even able to help in any of the searches. She was dealing with some very serious medical conditions, and unfortunately, she did pass away. So she passed away on October 15th, but from what I'm gathering, Lauren would often go to this park, and her mother lived right there across the street. I'm just not sure how often she would go and visit with her. I did gather from online, the mother has a boyfriend, and the boyfriend might work with Gabriel, Lauren's boyfriend. Speculating based on comments online. Got it? Okay, good. Follow me when we're just speculating. So if I'm wrong in this information, anything will be fixed in the pinned comment at the bottom. On top of that, just to add even further, I'm not sure how involved she was still with the family, but Paul's wife, Tracy, which would be Lauren's stepmother, also passed away 4 days after Lauren's mother passed away on October 19th. I'm not sure what she passed away of. I believe she might have even been in a different state. I have no idea what that situation is, but it's just, this family's been through too much. This is too much. Lauren goes missing. Her mother passes away. Then her stepmother passes away. It's too much for this family. They need to at least get some answers on where Lauren is. Let me give you a timeline of what I do have. On June 18th, she is seen on surveillance video applying for jobs. June 19th at 6 a.m. in the morning, Gabriel says he gets up to go to work. Lauren is fine, and he takes off to go to work for the entire day. He does not return home until about 10 p.m. I have questions on that as well, and I wasn't able to get that clarified. Is this normal for him to be gone this many hours? Is this what his job is? That's a long time, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. So I do have a couple of questions about that I wasn't able to get answered. But he does leave at 6 o'clock in the morning. Now, there is also a witness who sees Lauren on the morning of June 19th. Now, it was a little confusing between the articles of whether or not this was an anonymous person or this was the maintenance man, because it's mentioned both. So we're just going to pretend it's the maintenance man, or maybe it's a different person. You get where I'm going? We're just kind of gathering this together. It is stated that the day prior, she ran into the maintenance man, or an anonymous man, and was asking about whether or not there were any other apartments coming available in their complex. Now, that's interesting. Why is she looking for another apartment? And we don't know the answer to that question. It is reported that possibly she had said to this maintenance man or anonymous man that she was trying to get out of her situation. This could mean a ton of different things. Was she trying to get out of a relationship with Gabriel and find a new place to go? That seems odd that she would want to stay in the same complex. There are questions about Gabriel. It is reported. When I say reported, you guys know that I'm speculating. I'm not saying it's for sure true. I'm telling you this is what I'm hearing, and I'm giving it to you. It is reported that there may have been some allegations of domestic violence between Lauren and Gabriel, but that doesn't seem substantiated. However, there is an allegation against him of domestic violence with his prior wife that resulted in an arrest and a sentencing for it. Now, the prior wife, I did do some research, and I'm not going to post anything with names or anything. If you guys want to go look, you can. So they were married, and she actually filed for divorce in 2012. This is the prior wife of Gabriel. She filed for divorce in 2012 and never completed that divorce despite allegations of domestic violence. Side note, this is not uncommon. Wink, wink. Been down this road before. So anyways, the woman did not complete the divorce with him. However, 2 weeks after Lauren went missing, she completed the divorce or refiled it. Of course, I mean, you might have decided it was okay to stay estranged from someone because you didn't want to deal with the whole court system because it's a nightmare. But once this happened, she definitely wanted to separate herself from him. I don't know what that means. Does it mean she knows? Does it mean she doesn't know? I'm not really sure, but that is something else to be added. So there's allegations that Gabriel might have some sort of a violent streak, okay? That's all we know at this point. And maybe Lauren wanted to move out of the apartment with him and move into another apartment. As someone with some experience, that one didn't seem to quite work for me, because if you were trying to get away from someone, you wouldn't want to go and move into an apartment in the same complex, in my experience or my opinion. However, there's another consideration. Her sister Cassie mentioned that the month prior to her missing, she helped her with their rent that month. Because they had been struggling with the pandemic and money coming in, they weren't going to be able to pay their rent. But it was important to Lauren to not lose her apartment, and so her sister helped her pay the rent. So I was kind of wondering if maybe they were looking to downsize, maybe a smaller apartment, save money. All kinds of options are a possibility, but we don't know what she meant by that. Now, this is important because the next day, that same person says on June 19th at around 8:15 in the morning, they saw Lauren walking and they waved at her and she waved back. So it is saying that she was seen at around 8:15 in the morning on June 19th around her apartment area. Now, according to Gabriel, he did not talk to Lauren that whole day. I've heard it a little backwards. He tried to reach out to her, but he didn't hear back. Not really sure. However, as I say that for the 100th time, when they were able to go back through records, it was found that through Facebook, a video call was made through Facebook from Lauren's phone inside of their apartment to Gabriel. That call was not answered, and according to Gabriel, he never received it. So it's June 19th, and all we know is that she's seen in the morning and her phone is used to make a Facebook video call at around 10 a.m. After that, we don't have any information as to where she's at. Gabriel says he arrives home around 10 p.m. and she's not there. He's concerned. He's like, what's going on? He ends up making a phone call to her father, Paul, who's in California. I heard the story two different ways. I heard that Paul immediately jumped on a plane and flew out there, but I don't think that was correct. I think what I'm gathering is that they waited a day to see if she was going to come home. And then on Sunday, because we were on Friday, now they kind of wait on Saturday to be like, what's going on with Lauren? But on Sunday, when she did not call her father for Father's Day, that's when he flew. I'm kind of gathering where this happened. I do know that on Sunday, Gabriel, the boyfriend, did go to the police department and report her as missing, and that her father did fly out there to help in the search. I wondered at first why the boyfriend called the father, who's all the way in California, versus the mother who's down the street. I think that might have been due to the mother's medical condition. She couldn't help as much. Just speculating. Now, before I get to the police report on Sunday, on June 20th, the day after she went missing, her purse was actually found at the Four Freedoms Park. So that's that park that she often goes to. They found her purse with her wallet and her ID and her debit card inside of it. And that was kind of where this idea, like, did she go to the park? The maintenance man saw her walking. She often walked. She often went to this park to meditate around this time in the morning. So it makes sense that she went to this park. And that's kind of where everyone started to think, did she go missing from the park? And they started doing searches immediately of that area. Now, on Sunday, Gabriel reports her missing. This is no fault of the family. The police department made a huge mistake. The deputy who took the report didn't file it correctly or didn't code it correctly. And so nothing happened. When that deputy came back to work on Wednesday after being off on Monday and Tuesday, realized that nobody was working on the case, and then the case was assigned to be worked on. So there was definitely a delay in anyone doing anything about Lauren missing. She was originally posted as missing. She has been upgraded to endangered missing. So they find her purse at the park, okay? So of course, what do they start doing? They comb the park. They're searching. Their whole family's out there. They're looking in the water. They're looking on the land. They're looking everywhere they can to find any clue about where Lauren could be. Police did also go and conduct a search of their apartment. I don't think they did like a thorough search. They said they went in and the apartment was in good condition. Nothing seemed out of place. Nothing seemed like anything had happened. Nothing seemed like it had been removed. Now, at the apartment, they did find Lauren's 2 cell phones. And you're thinking, what? Wait, because her purse was at the park. I know, this one leaves you with a lot of questions, because in 2020, what person is walking all the way down to a park with a purse and not putting their cell phone in it? So I do have questions. Is this something she would have done? Is this maybe part of meditating? I could imagine telling myself like, hey, I'm going to walk to my park because my park's only a block away, and go to my park, and I'm purposely not going to take my phone. I need to get out of my head and focus on my meditating. I wouldn't, because what I do, I'm too petrified. I would have my watch, something to track me at all times. So I'm not really sure. And I would love to ask the family that question. Is it possible that she would go to the park without her phones? Okay, so they find the phones at the house. I just want to give you this information. They did go through the phones. They didn't find anything. There really wasn't much to work with on her phones, some normal activity, mostly her looking for jobs. But there wasn't anything that police found in there that was sending them on the way to figure out what happened with her. So now it's moving forward. She hasn't been found. They're looking at her phones. They're not getting any information. She hasn't returned to Taco Bell to get her last paycheck. They also, this, I wasn't really sure where it happened or when they found. They also found in the area somewhere outside of her apartment, in the grass, some fingernails with a specific polish on it that looked just like hers. So that was also making them worry. Was there some sort of an issue? Did something happen? Was there a scuffle? So this is starting to bring up a lot of questions about what could have happened at that apartment. On July 2nd, they find her shirt at the park. It was kind of like where the water comes up, there's like a beach of sand, and it was kind of in the sand but not really hidden, and it was this very specific shirt. It's like a burgundy lace tank top. I believe I have a photo of it right here for you. So it's very obvious that this is her tank top. And how after they had searched and scoured and searched did this tank top suddenly show up? And I guess it kind of makes you think like, oh, well, maybe it was in the water and it washed up, which is possible. But the family's just, it seems odd. It seems like these things just keep bringing you back to the park when her phones are still at the apartment. So is it some sort of a setup? Is it a ruse? Is it something? Or is it one of those situations? Have you ever been at the park with your kids and they pick something up and they pick it up and then you're walking and you're like, what is that? Put that down. That's not yours. And you kind of like, where'd you get that? And you don't even know whose it was. And you're like, just set it down. They'll find it. Yeah, I know I have bad kids. But yeah, I mean, I just think, did somebody pick it up, think it was theirs, and then be like, oh, I better take this back? A lot of things go through my mind of possibilities of how that shirt got there. Another, I'm not sure. I found this in the comments, so I'm not sure if this is 100% true, but I did read that in regards to allegations of any sort of domestic violence between Lauren and Gabriel, I read that there is some proof in forms of text messages, and that those text messages were actually on Cassie's phone, her sister, and that they had been turned over to police. Again, I'm not really sure on that. Could be, I don't know. I want you guys to know I add a lot of this information because I want you to be interested. I want you to be interested. I want you to be interested enough to remember her face, to share her story, to get her story out there so that she can be found. Yeah, that's why I share things sometimes that might not be concrete and I'm not really sure if they're true. We're just trying to stimulate enough to want people to share her story. There have been no other sightings of Lauren other than Gabriel saw her at 6 o'clock that morning and a maintenance man saw her at 8:15 in the morning. There have been no sightings. There is no clear evidence of where she went that day or did not go. There's no communication with her. She was very involved with her family, very active with them, much in communication. She was out applying for jobs. She had a daughter. Now, her daughter had actually been staying with the paternal grandmother. I'm not sure how long she had been staying there in the Florida area. I'm not sure how long Michaela had been with her grandmother, but she was with her grandmother when Lauren went missing. Lauren didn't have any reason to go missing. There's no reason for her to walk away from her life. Now, Gabriel made a couple of comments. I don't know how serious it was, but Lauren might have had an issue dabbling with substances in the past. But from everyone I could find, they said absolutely not. That was nothing she was messing with anymore. There was nothing to be concerned with about that. Now, Gabriel said that as well. He did not think she was doing that. But then he also made a statement that he was worried that one of her friends might have got a hold of her and took her out and got her messed up on something. That wouldn't explain her not returning. Okay, if she had messed up, if she had made a mistake, if she had relapsed in any way, shape, or form, if that was even something she was capable of doing, she had no reason not to return. Her family supported her and loved her. And what kind of sealed the deal for me, when I was talking to my son, I was telling him the story, when I told him that Lauren's mother had passed away, he immediately said, oh, she would have come home. And I was like, this child is the one that is like I've talked to every time I talk about anyone going missing, because I don't understand it. I can't imagine going missing by choice. Like, I can't imagine doing it. So I always tell my son, and he's like, yeah, people do it. And I'm like, but do you think in this situation? And he immediately was like, no, she would come home. There's no way if her mother passed away, she wouldn't have come home. And then her stepmother passed away. And then seeing how much work her family has done. They did a ride for Lauren, which her father led on his motorcycle. Really cute. I'll insert whatever I can from that. But really just out there trying to bring awareness to bring her home. They just did this last weekend. They did a walk for Lauren. They had the community involved, police involved. They stopped traffic so that they could get out there and raise awareness. Favorite color was pink. They put pink everywhere, just trying to figure out where she is. So if you're in the area, absolutely make sure everyone knows her face. Make sure that they're talking about her. Make sure if there's anyone in that area that can do anything. We're talking June 19th of 2020 in Cape Coral, Florida. I will link all of the information to the police department. If you have any information, you can share that. I will also have the family's Facebook group if you want to get more involved. That's why we do these videos, guys. I love telling you the stories about people. I hate the sadness of it, the fact that they're gone, they're missing, it's unsolved. That part just breaks my heart. I'm happy to bring their story to you guys because I want them to matter, because they are who are the most important in this. So I want you guys to share this story for me, and do me a favor, if you have any information, make sure you're sending it to the right thing. Make sure you comment down below. I'm curious to see what you guys find, what you dig up, what you're thinking about this case. Where do you think she is? What do you think's going on? Are we all thinking the same thing? I think so, probably. All right. I love you guys. Thank you so much for understanding when I take a week off. I just can't get it together sometimes, but I do it for you guys because we have to try and see what we can do to help people. So thank you guys so much for being here. Do me a favor, I say this at the end of every one of my videos. Hug your babies and hug your loves. Life is literally precious. Enjoy every minute of every day and do not take anything for granted. I love you, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys. I can't move the table again. Bye.